Hey there, I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of why I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift. I remember when I first saw the short film, The Shift, it was probably a couple of years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who this person is who made this, and I had heard that they did it for no money, but I'm really impressed, and I believe that this guy has a future. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where The Shift turned out. I wanted to see how it could be expanded upon. I wanted to see what Brock could do with an actual budget. So The Shift now has a relatively small budget. They're really keeping the budget low, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is help them maximize the budget that they do have, and making sure that every penny that we spend is spent in the best and most efficient way possible, which is one of the things that I hope, if you've seen The Chosen, you've realized we did there too, was we didn't have Hollywood money, but we had enough to make something special. And I think that's what Brock has now. I think he's going to get, and I hope you can help him get, enough to make something special. And I think the message of The Shift and the future of The Shift is so important. And almost as important as any of that is Brock Heasley. He didn't ask me to say this, I promise, but I can tell you I've seen his work on a writing side, I've seen it on the directing side, and in my 20 years in the business, there are very few people who I've thought, I want to pour into this person because I think that this person has the chance to be an impactful and disruptive and important storyteller in this business, and that is Brock. Brock is someone who, when I read what he's writing, I'm connected to it. And I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level. And if you've seen The Chosen, maybe that's what you've appreciated about it as well, is that it's not just pure emotion. It's emotion that has some thought behind it, but it's also not pure intellect. It's intellect that has some heart behind it. And all of that is, there's kind of an umbrella over all of it of a spiritual importance. Something is being said about our universe and who created it.
Nothing. That I may be worthy tomorrow.
I am greater than God.
Jesus
Christ.
And that's what The Shift is about. That's what The Chosen is about. It's one of the reasons why I've signed on board, and I hope you can get involved as well to be part of the beginning of what I believe is an important project and who I believe is an important filmmaker.
We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. Click the link to invest in The Shift today.
Hey everybody, welcome to this very, very special Shift live stream. My name is Brock Heasley, and I'm the writer and director of The Shift.
And I'm Orlando J. Gomez. I am the producer of The Shift.
And we're coming to you on a very special day. First of all, I know that we're going out to a lot of fans of Dallas Jenkins today. And probably a lot of you are looking at us and you're like, you're not Dallas. And you're right, you're perceptive. And the reason that we're not Dallas is because Dallas is coming up in a little bit. But this is a project that he is involved in as an executive producer. And for those of you worried that he's like, oh my gosh, does that mean he's not on The Chosen? No.
No. We would never pull him away from that.
No, his involvement as an executive producer is nowhere near on the level of what he does with The Chosen. But he is doing that here with us, with The Shift. And he's going to talk more about that, about what his role exactly is. But we're very excited to have him involved with the project. We see it as a huge stamp of approval. And for those of you that don't know what The Shift is, certainly don't know who I am, it is a movie. It is a full-length feature film based on a short film that I wrote and directed a number of years ago. And the short film just involves a man who has an encounter with the devil, and the devil gives him, some opportunities, but he has to, not do the right thing in order to capitalize on those opportunities. Mm-hmm. So it's a deal that he's being offered. And the point of making a short film for me was wanting to show a story like that, which admittedly has been done many, many times, but wanting to show that from the perspective of what I would do as a Christian. And it's that little short film that we're now turning into a much, much bigger feature film, a sci-fi feature film. We're going to talk more about that a little bit. and it's something that Dallas saw, as you could see in the video that you just saw, something he got really excited about. And so and now he's on board. But here's the thing. Here's the really great thing that's happening today, and why it is so special that you're here with us right now. Literally, like an hour ago, we just launched a new. I'm getting chills right now. I'm not kidding. I am. We just launched a new fundraising round for the Shift. Right now, you can invest in the Shift by going to angel.com/the Shift. This is a big day for us. We see this as a film, as an important film, as a game-changing film. We are backed by Angel Studios. We are backed by Dallas Jenkins. For you Chosen fans, we also have Matt Nelson and Dan Hasseltine who are coming on as composers. So this is a really special film that's starting to take shape right now. And for a limited time, you can come in and you can partner with us and invest in the Shift. Did you miss out on The Chosen? Don't miss out on the Shift. That's kind of the message
that
tonight.
Works.
Anyway, we're going to talk a lot more about that as we go. But look, if you want to turn me off and just go to angel.com/the Shift right now and invest, then please do it. I will not be offended. Come on back. Probably Dallas we're going to have him up in about 3 or 4 minutes. So it's just enough time to go check it out and see what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Also, as we're talking today, if you have any questions, anything you want to know about the film or Dallas working on the film or anything at all, please submit them in the comments and our moderators will be sure and pass them on to us. We are going to be talking to Dallas in just a few minutes, and also we're going to be talking about the investment. We're going to be talking about the perks that are available if you invest at certain levels. Oh my gosh, we have investments rolling in already. Elizabeth from Texas just invested $501. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Jean from Kentucky invested $750. Incredible. And Jeffrey from Utah invested $501.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
You can take those. I don't have to do all the talking.
You're good. Nick invested at 102. I like all these like odd numbers. Like, they're not perfectly flush. Joshua invested 150. Thank you, Joshua. That's fantastic. Look, just right out the gate.
Yeah, right out of the gate. It's already happening. So please, anytime you want to check out and go see angel.com/the Shift, please do so. The investment has literally been up for like an hour. Yeah, so it's brand spanking new. You're going to see that number is low when you get there. But I think, as you can see already, it's going to climb pretty quickly. It's just going to start climbing pretty quickly here. So please join us if you would like. Let's see. We are also going to we're gonna have a goal. We're going to try to get to $10,000 in investments while we're talking here for the next hour. Number. I think that's achievable. Mm-hmm. If we're able to do that, I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain of who I am as a filmmaker, and share with you what my favorite sci-fi movie is. I think this is fair to say this sci-fi movie probably has no small influence on what The Shift is. So it could be a pretty revealing reveal.
And he really likes this movie.
I really do.
It's not like just like it's not my favorite. Like exactly.
It's a favorite. Something else I want to announce real quick before we get to Dallas. We have a really special live stream that we're going to be doing a little bit later this next month. On November 17th, we're going to have what's called ShiftCon. And ShiftCon is going to be this really, really special live stream that we're going to treat kind of like a convention, like a sci-fi convention. And we'll have possibly some prizes and possibly some dressing up. And we're going to kind of focus more on the sci-fi element of this movie.
Are you going to be dressing up?
I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm not saying I won't do it. Sandra from Texas just invested $252. Thank you so much, Thank you, Sandra. Incredible. All right. One of the other things that we have going around right now is we have this incredible new pitch video that we just made in concert with Harmon Brothers, which is a fantastic marketing agency.
Yeah, they've done like Poopery, they've done Sweaty Potty.
Pretty much, if you've ever seen an ad on Facebook and you're like, I don't need that product, but I'm going to sit here for 3 minutes
and I'm going to share it with everybody.
That's them. Harmon Brothers. So we've made one like that about The Shift, and we'd like to share that with you now.
What happens when atheists make Bible movies? You get films like this. How could you cast Batman as Moses and still have the movie be more boring than church? Never send Hollywood to do a Christian's job. No, not that Christian. You had your chance. Still like you as Batman, though. There are two problems when it comes to faith-based movies. Number one, most Christian films look cheap because they don't have the budget. The second problem is when Hollywood attempts to make their own faith movie, which is when you get Noah talking to rock monsters. Was a global flood not epic enough for you, Hollywood? Most faith-based movies fall apart quickly. And watching them is like walking on Legos with your eyes. It's hard to feel God in a faith-based film when they have the production value of a church play.
I don't feel safe!
Hey, you don't cry until the last scene.
Pray for them. Hollywood has all of the production value, but none of the Christian value. How can we as believers enjoy a faith-based film that's as enjoyable as a blockbuster, but retains the power and truth of the Bible? We need a Hollywood-quality movie created by actual believers, and that movie is The Shift. It's about a man who meets the devil himself and gets banished to a dark, parallel earth where he fights to get back to the woman he loves. The script explores some of today's hardest questions about maintaining faith, like how can a loving God allow suffering? Or how can I overcome feelings of despair and hopelessness? Finally, you can see a faith-based film that feels like your favorite movies. The Shift is a sci-fi film that will make you think deeply like Inception and weep like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. Man, even his ugly cry looks good. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not that talented. Using popular genres to share faith-based stories is a great way to entertain and inspire a love for God. Look at C.S. Lewis, who used fantasy to share Christian themes and inspire millions. And make millions. Even Jesus used creative storytelling to make his sermons more interesting. Parables. I'm talking about parables. We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. But rather than pass around a donation plate, we want you to own part of the movie. Click the link to invest in The Shift today. The plan is for The Shift to be distributed by Angel Studios, which helped The Chosen become the largest crowdfunded media project of all time. Angel Studios' distribution of The Chosen then went on to generate over $70 million in revenue and over 250 million views. Here's what the creator of The Chosen has to say about The Shift.
I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift, and I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level.
Angel Studios also helped the Wing Feather Saga, an animated fantasy series created by a Christian author, become the largest crowdfunded kids and family animated project in history. When you invest in The Shift, you're not just investing in a groundbreaking Christian film. You have the potential to share in the profits. Now, we don't have one of these prophets to promise that you'll make this profit. But I am going to repeat that The Chosen earned $70 million in revenue. That's the highest earning faith-based project of the last 2 years. The Shift not only has the incredible potential in the marketplace, it's just an incredible movie. Listen to these reviews from folks who watched the short film. Jane F. wrote, "This looks amazing. I've never seen a faith-based film like this." Ronnie said, "There's actually no way to convey how this spoke to me just now. I look forward to seeing what God does with this film." And Jason commented recently with, "Wow, just wow." And what will really wow you is discovering that the short film was created with almost zero budget and it has already touched hundreds of thousands of lives. Imagine the impact The Shift can have on hearts and minds with the proper funds. Most indie Christian films operate with a budget of about $500,000, and honestly, it shows. She's fine. Maybe the little shepherd boy could say a quick prayer? Yeah, we good? With 10 times the production value, we can truly do justice to the epic themes in the Bible. So click on the link to invest in The Shift today. Look, there's nothing wrong with a film that's a labor of love, but those usually just become cult classics, which is not the best label for a Christian movie to receive. Enjoy Sunday morning values with Saturday night entertainment. Click the link to invest in The Shift today.
That mic drop.
All right. So that is our pitch video. Our way of telling people, hey, we're trying to do something different with this film. We just got an investment during that pitch. Adam from Nevada.
$600.
$600.
Thank you, Adam.
So much, Adam. If you do have any questions while we're live today, please go ahead and submit them. Otherwise, head on over to angel.com/theshift, and that's where you can invest in The Shift right now. One of the people who has invested in The Shift, definitely on a big level, is Dallas Jenkins. And that's one of the reasons that we're talking with you today. Dallas, he first saw The Shift actually like 2 or 3 years ago. And I didn't know Dallas at all. I had no relationship with him whatsoever. But I asked the guys at Angel Studios if they put it in front of him just to see what he thought, and he was really taken with it. And over the course of time, Dallas and I kind of developed a friendship, and became friends on Facebook, and we're kind of in each other's orbit. And the more that he saw kind of what I was doing, and the more that I saw what he was doing, because this is right at the beginning of The Chosen, is when a lot of this was happening. And I could see The Chosen, and I realized very quickly, oh, this is going to be massive. And I actually became an early investor in The Chosen because I recognized that. And so I also, what I really saw though with The Chosen that really excited me was that I saw a real leveling up when it came to the way that we talk about, faith, the way that we talk about, even portray Jesus, within our media. I just saw that he was doing something radically different, and that it was of the quality that it needed to be, and should be, and should have always been, to be honest.
True.
And so the fact that he was doing that, I realized, there might be room in the world for something like The Shift that's approaching things a little bit differently. Reese just said, that video was taken directly from my brain. It's exactly how I feel about the need for faith-based films. Brock and Orlando are great. I love working with these guys. Great hearts. So Reese awesome. Actually is an actress we've worked with. She worked with us recently on a special piece of what do you want to call it? Of like pre-production video that we're going to be sharing with you in a couple of weeks, called an animatic. But we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, so Dallas saw what I was doing. I saw what he was doing, and I think there was a real meeting of the minds that happened. And so I took the bold step, and I asked him if he would consider being an executive producer on The Shift. And actually, that was the first conversation we ever had. We had only communicated on Facebook, through messages. But this was me calling him on his phone while he was on a road trip with his family, and asking him, this bold ask. And there was no hesitation. He said immediately, yes, I would love to do that. And then he's been a huge supporter of ours ever since. But you know what? I know you don't want to hear from me anymore. Let's hear from the man himself. This is a pre-recorded interview between me and Dallas. And this is Dallas talking all about The Shift. Dallas, of course, is the creator of The Chosen. He has a 20-year career in film and just has done so many great things. The movie What If, the movie The Resurrection of Gavin Stone, several short films. But The Chosen, of course, is just about the biggest thing you've ever done, and just about the biggest thing anybody's ever done. It's an incredible project. And so very grateful that you have signed on as one of our executive producers for The Shift. It's a huge blessing for us and for the project and for me personally. And I just want to kick this off with a chosen question. What are you seeing that's surprising to you, or things that you've learned from season 1 to season 2?
Yeah, well, I think every day I become a better filmmaker. At least that's the goal. And I'm sure you feel that way too. So I think when it comes to the depth of character that we're exploring, the cinematography, the production design, all of those things, we learned from season 1 that, how to make the most of whatever resources we're given. I think the biggest thing that and I think people are noticing this, is if you look at episodes 1 through 4 of season 1, which were a lot of setup, okay? There were only 2 miracles in the whole first 4 episodes, and Jesus wasn't there a whole lot. Then 5 through 8 was like a greatest hits album. Each episode was like a big deal. Well, we can't sustain that. We can't do every episode for the rest of The Chosen, miracle of the week, as I call it. So the first 3 episodes of this season are actually similar to the first 3 episodes of season 1, and that's purposeful. That's us saying we have got to train, and I don't mean this to sound condescending, we've got to train the audience to see this show for what it really is going to be for 7 seasons, which is a mix of big moments and small moments in character development. What you can't ever forget is that the big moments are big and impactful and life-changing for so many people because of the time we took to develop the characters. And so those moments that sometimes people go, this is not as exciting as season 1. I'm like, well, you must not remember episodes 1 through 4, which had very few big moments. But those moments of the second half of the season were big because of what happened in the first half. And I'm going to bring it to The Shift for a second.
Sure.
That's something that you really understand really well. And it's one of the reasons why I've responded so well to your writing, is because you have a sensibility that's similar to mine, which is even in your film and even in your short film, which is your short film is how long? 15 minutes, maybe?
It's 20, but people think
20.
It's 15.
Yeah. Yeah, because it goes by quickly. But even in that, you take your time. Like
Right.
there are no doubt people who've watched The Shift who thought it was too long.
Yeah, there have been.
Even though it's only 20 minutes. And I'm sure there's some people who thought it was too short. But the people who probably didn't like The Shift probably were like, yeah, it just feels too long. And I'm like, no, that's what makes it impactful. And that's what makes any good movie impactful, is when you don't skip past the before, the time that it is required to develop the character, to develop the setting, so that when the moment happens, the aha moment happens, it's that much more impactful. And I think that's something we're continually learning and exercising on The Chosen.
Yeah, one of the films that you're actually bringing to mind for me is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I've heard complaints of that movie that like the first 3/4 of it is slow and not a lot happens, but that movie will lay you out flat every single time in that third act. But that third act does not work without those first 2 acts doing all that heavy lifting and all that character work and all the relationship building that just gets destroyed, in that third act and when he gets put through the ringer.
Yeah, I just did it. Well, and that's, I think, true of my favorite movie of all time, It's a Wonderful Life, and I think that's true of
that
most
one as well.
Frank Capra movies. Frank Capra is one of my idols because he doesn't skip over the tough stuff, whether you want to call it boring or whether you want to call it slow or whether you want to call it character building. That's what makes his climaxes so extraordinary. That's vital for any, whether it's a show or a movie. You have to be willing to take the time to develop the characters so that the big moments pay off.
And look, I've worked on projects where the filmmakers or the storytellers decided to cut out those character moments, and suffered greatly for it. So you're clearly a busy guy, and one of the concerns that we see popping up now and again, as people find out that you're involved in The Shift, is why work on The Shift when you're tied up with The Chosen, and is The Chosen going to suffer because you're working on The Shift?
Well, it's a fair question, but I think we all know that I'm not going to be doing anywhere close to what I do on The Chosen with The Shift. What I'm doing is lending my experience, having done this project, The Chosen, outside the system. I'm lending my experience as a filmmaker and as a writer and as someone who's done this many times. You have the wisdom of any filmmaker, including me, who has mentors or who has people who come on board that you just can run things past. So I'm going to be devoting, just a handful of hours, a month to giving advice, answering questions, lending my support where I can. And then once you start filming, maybe a little bit more, being a resource that you can reach out to as someone who can say, look, I've been in this spot that you've been in, Brock, and here's how I dealt with it. And also connecting you with the right people. For example, the composers of The Shift are the composers of The Chosen. And I connected you. I think I introduced you to casting director. There's other people that I've had the luxury of getting to know over the years and saying, these people are trustworthy. They're going to help you. They're going to help legitimize your project. And that's happened to me throughout my entire career. I've had people who've said, all right, you need this particular position filled. I know a guy, or I know a girl, or I know someone who's going to be able to be trustworthy. And that's invaluable. So, I'm not going to be taking time away from The Chosen. I don't think you would want that.
No,
because you're a fan of The Chosen as well.
I am, and I don't want the hate. So,
right. But Angel Studios, which is the company that connects a lot of these projects and actually connected me to you, they're an organization that is building multiple projects, and it behooves them and me to learn and for us to become almost like artificial intelligence, where we get smarter every day. And I'm someone who sees the value in seeing a project like yours, and I've had conversations with Daniel Harmon, who's running the Tuttle Twins, another project that Angel is developing, and we've bounced ideas back and forth off each other. And I do that because I believe it's the right thing to do, I want to be helpful where I can. B, even just for purely selfish reasons. It's gonna pay off for the Chosen and for other projects down the road as well. And the more that we can help each other and develop projects together and speak into each other's projects, the better those projects are going to be, and the quicker this is all going to build. And I think that's important for Chosen fans to know, that helping the shift. And I'm sure you would agree with this. If you don't like the shift, if you don't want to be involved, if you saw the short film and it just didn't work for you, then don't be involved. And I say that to people about the Chosen. Like, if you don't have the money, if you don't have the time, if it's not working for you, then don't watch the show and don't pay it forward on the Chosen. But if you did like the short film, and if you do like the shift, and if you do see the potential in Brock that I see as an important storyteller, and with an important story to tell for our world, and then you need to realize that investing in the shift is not only a good investment, because the shift is a great project and is going to do well. And it's not only a good investment spiritually, because the shift is going to impact people's lives, but it also helps the Chosen. It also helps the Chosen in the sense that it brings in more people. And when the Chosen and the shift and the Tuttle Twins and other projects that Angel Studios is developing, when those projects are speaking to each other and connecting tribes to each other, that produces exponential growth. And so it does not take away from the Chosen at all. It enhances the Chosen. It brings in more people. If the shift is successful, financially, spiritually, audience-wise, whatever, that will help the Chosen, because these projects talk to each other. And some of the people who are involved in the shift came there from the Chosen. And that will also happen in reverse. There will be people who come across the shift because they love it, and then we'll hear about the Chosen because it's also from Angel Studios, or because I'm one of the executive producers, or because there's kind of a mutual love fest going on between these projects, and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to check out the Chosen." And so that's the long-term goal that Angel Studios has, and it's one of the things that I'm excited about, is that the Chosen is not in a vacuum, and the shift is not in a vacuum. And so, please, if you are intrigued by the shift, not only should you not be scared it's going to detract from the Chosen, you should be excited that it's going to enhance the Chosen, and vice versa.
No, that's perfectly well said. I think there's a cultural impact too. That I looked at the Chosen the first time I saw the Chosen, and I thought how sad it would be if the Chosen was an isolated event. If you make the Chosen and it's fantastic and it's doing this new thing, this really, really well done thing within Christian storytelling. I think anybody who watches that at a show, and automatically they think, oh, there's a leveling up that's happening here. And how sad it would be if the Chosen was an isolated incident and nobody was able to follow it up. And I feel like it's incumbent upon us as artists and as storytellers to rise to the level of what you're doing, to carry the ball forward, to keep the conversation going of how can we make something that competes with the best of what Hollywood has to offer. And I know that's one of the goals that Angel Studios has, and the Chosen is perfectly emblematic of that goal. And I want the shift to be part of that conversation. I want the shift to be one of those that people look at and say, yeah, that was another one that really did something different, but did it at a high level, and made a difference and inspired people.
If the Chosen ends up kind of being the period at the end of the sentence of this get used to different, think outside the box, new thing. You actually use the term new thing, which is one of our kind of themes of the Chosen, that Bible verse from Isaiah 43, which is, "Behold, I am doing a new thing."
Right.
If it just begins and ends with the Chosen, that's a fail, because the Chosen's only going to be 7 seasons, and from now until Jesus comes, we've got to have more projects to fill the gap, and even between seasons. I mean, we hear from people all the time saying, "I can't wait for season 2, or I can't wait for season 3, or I can't wait for episode 4." Well, imagine if it got to the point where, when season 2 of The Chosen was done, you didn't have to wait a year to watch another God-inspired or high quality, impactful project. Well, I saw your short film. I saw The Shift a couple years ago, and I thought, this is going to be a challenge because it's a very nuanced story. It's going to be a challenge to it's not quite as kind of obvious as The Chosen is, where The Chosen was kind of like it's a Jesus show. you kind of have an
Right.
idea of where it's going to go, whereas the shift is a little bit more nuanced. But I also thought this is an important project and needs backing, needs to be made. And then I remember reading a chapter of your book that you released was it last year? I guess COVID has caused
It
my
was actually
timelines to
like
get us.
a year and a half ago, but yeah.
Oh
it was a
gosh,
while
yeah,
ago.
it feels, yeah. And I remember just going, oh my goodness, like you're even better than I thought you were. Like this guy is an extraordinary storyteller. And now that you've released your script to the public to read if they so choose, it's like there's even more urgency. It's like, wow, this guy has to be given a platform. And so that's where we're at now. And I'm just really hopeful that, like I said, that the chosen becomes a comma in the middle of a long sentence that includes the shift and that includes some of these other projects. But right now, you're growing faster than you were a couple months ago, and so I hope people will
Oh my gosh.
get in on this before the time is out. Because I remember when we were with the chosen, when the short film The Shepherd came out, and the initial interest was huge, but that's all it was. It was interest. People were just saying, yes, I'm interested in investing. So we finally opened up investment, and in the first weekend, it just went significantly slower than Angel anticipated. I mean, because we'd had like $18 million worth of interest shown, but we'd lost momentum because it was like 6 months after that round had happened that we finally were able to open investment. And it took a while, and a couple months went past. It was going slow, and then all of a sudden, the tide turned, and we ended up having people who still to this day are upset that they didn't get a chance to invest because they ran out of time, and so many people came in at once. So it looks like you guys are on the verge of that happening, where you can kind of get past that point, that tipping point where people will start going, wait a minute, what's this? And I want to get in on it, and they can't. So hopefully they'll get in as soon as possible and not take it for granted. We still every day if we hear from people who are upset they missed out on that first round. So yeah, it hasn't come around, even though we thought we were going to do one last year. We just didn't, we didn't need it. And we're not going to bring on new investors and dilute the original ones. Because if you're one of the original investors, you have, well, whether it's in the chosen or in the shift, and I'm an investor in the shift. But if you, at least I think I am, I better make sure I do that. As soon as I hang up with you, I'm going to do it. I did not officially invest.
I don't think so.
I invested.
But you've invested in other ways, so you're forgiven.
No, but I did invest in Angel Studios. But that's funny. I've helped you. I don't think I've actually gone around and done it myself. So I'm going to do it as soon as I hang up because I don't want to miss out. Time matters, and so I would encourage you, if you're watching right now, and you're like, I'll see what happens. Like, if there's something stirring in your heart, if there's something that's saying, I don't normally do this, but I really like this guy or I really like this project, do it now. Like turn me off, turn Brock off, or keep us on while you go do it, and then commit to, like, just take a chance and do something like maybe 25% more than you were planning on doing. Because when you look back on it a couple months from now, you're not going to miss that 25% more money. You're going to be happy that you invested in something that's this important, and that's going to end up generating, I believe it's going to end up generating income. So that's what's happening with The Chosen in a significant way. And but I think more importantly, it's an investment in something that's going to impact people's lives. So
yeah. No, I appreciate that. There are some people who have some concerns, and we've been hearing them a lot. You mentioned that the shift is a little bit more nuanced than The Chosen, which is based on the Bible, and people are familiar with that. So there's kind of this way in. And when people watch the shift for the first time, there's no way in. They experience it, and they don't really know what's coming at them. Part of the nuance that's happening there is we're very much operating kind of within the realm of allegory. A lot of it is very much intended as allegory for kind of just our experience here on Earth. We're doing it through the lens of science fiction, which is different. That's new. That's different, and it's not something that people have seen a whole lot before. And there have been some concerns about mixing science fiction with faith, which is definitely what we're doing. And I'm just wondering, because you watched the shift, and from the get-go, you loved it. You never raised any concerns with me about any of this. And I want to be clear that we're talking about a minority of people, but there's been enough that I want to address it just very quickly. What is your take on that, about what we're doing with the shift, kind of this new thing, and kind of mixing two things that don't generally mix? Is that something that makes sense to you?
I would ask a question to people who are concerned about mixing faith with science fiction is I would kind of say, what shouldn't be mixed with faith? Like, to me, whether it's art or real life, I would argue that faith is a vital part. Faith in God and the God of the universe is a vital part of anything that we address or watch. And when you read Chronicles of Narnia or Lord of the Rings or any metaphoric or allegorical artistic enterprise, whether it's a book or a movie. I mean, my dad wrote the Left Behind books, which were for sure mixing faith with, I don't know if you want to call it science fiction, but a modern day telling of the book of Revelation or the prophecies of the Revelation coming true in modern day involved a lot of what would traditionally be considered science fiction, because obviously they're supernatural. And science fiction delves into the supernatural. And in many ways, there's a handful of genres that sometimes we think shouldn't be associated with faith, but that actually are extraordinarily faith-friendly because they accept the supernatural or the otherworldly as real. And most people don't accept faith. They don't accept the supernatural as real. Some people think that they do, but they really don't. And I think that whenever you watch a piece of art or read a piece of art that by definition is accepting of the otherworldly, that really allows you to explore faith and explore the truth of Scripture in a way that can't be explored in other areas. Because think about, like, when you do a modern day movie, like a faith-based movie, the only way that you're going to cinematically portray something supernatural is through like a miracle, like a healing, or that's why a lot of faith-based movies these days, in the last few years that were successful, were like about miracles. But miracles don't always happen. You know, I mean, at least physical miracles. I mean, obviously every day is a miracle, but you know what I mean? Like someone being brought back to life or whatever. That's some people in a normal movie or a normal show, meaning like just kind of a real world show, have a hard time accepting something that happens supernatural. It just feels like it's out of place. Whereas with science fiction or allegory, you kind of just settle in and accept it. So in Lord of the Rings or Chronicles of Narnia, which were both written by passionate Christians who were telling very biblically based stories, just using metaphor and allegory and the supernatural in a way to cover it, the viewer doesn't sit there going, I don't buy any of this. Like, they're by definition open to that, like their heart and their mind is open to the otherworldly. And when your heart and mind just kind of are open to that artistically, then you can really get in some truth bombs that they don't see coming. And that's what's so great about the Shift script. That's what's so great about your short film is, yeah, it's nuanced. Yeah, it's allegorical. Yeah, it's not like The Chosen where it's just, you're watching Jesus walk around on earth and everything is real. So yeah, it is a little different. And maybe it's, for some people, it's just harder to kind of wrap their mind around. I get that. But my goodness, when you get to the truth bomb, it's that much more interesting because your brain and your heart have gone down these roads and opened up these pathways. And I don't mean that in a new age way. I just mean that in a literal way where you're like, you really get to see things that you weren't open to before. And that's what opens you up to Jesus. That's what opens you up to the God of the universe. And I would say that so many people, when it came to Chronicles of Narnia, understood the Christ story. And that's why C.S. Lewis chose to do it that way. Is it just that was the art form that children and adults were able to get it. Like the scales were removed from their eyes for the first time going, I never thought of it that way. And then the Bible opened up for them even more. And that's what art can do. And that's what a project like The Shift can do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think you're exactly right. I think the power of allegory, the power of story is to teach us truths in a different way that opens up our minds to just how much truth is actually there, or we see things maybe that we didn't see before. I've heard from a lot of people who watch the short, they get done with it and they say, oh my gosh, I see now what the attacks are. I see what I'm battling every day. I haven't ever been able to put it into words, but you have put on screen what I'm going through.
Right.
And they were able to do that, and recognizing it's science fiction, recognizing it's a fictional story, but they see those truths that you're talking about, and it helps.
When you see it, as opposed to, because so many supernatural things you don't see. But there was a very famous book back in the 80s called This Present Darkness. It was huge in evangelical circles, and I mean, huge. It was bigger. It was Left Behind before Left Behind came out. It was really huge, and it was these stories told from the perspectives in many ways of demons, and you like it really visualized what demons did, and so in many ways, again, it didn't feel like science fiction in the purest sense because again, we believe that demons are real, but it was showing you things that you never see. And I mean, so many people's lives were impacted and changed by it spiritually because of it. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge believer in using parable, and that's what Jesus did. I mean, that's how Jesus opened up things so often, as he told parables. And parables are in many ways, again, I don't know if you use the term science fiction, but they're fiction for the most part, used to illustrate a truth. And that's where people always have those aha moments. And those aha moments can come tremendously from allegory. If you're watching right now, I'm just telling you, no one's paid me to say this. I haven't gotten paid a dime to help out the shift. But I really, really strongly believe in this project. And I know it's different from The Chosen, but if you are a fan of The Chosen, it's going to make sense financially, spiritually, and also artistically to see more projects like this get made, because there has to be room in popular culture for storytellers who have something to say about this world that God inhabits, that God created, because 98% of stories that you see in the world right now are not inhabited by a God. They're worlds that are created where God is absent, and truth is absent. And The Shift is a project in which truth is dominant and God is present, and we desperately need that. And so I really hope it gets done. And I'm gonna tonight, I'm gonna go invest right now because I don't want to miss out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dallas. Really appreciate
All right, brother.
it.
We'll talk again soon.
Yep, sounds good. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I can confirm that Dallas did that very same night go and invest, and he was true to his word. And if you want to invest, you can go to angel.com/theshift and do that right now. And look, while we were all listening to Dallas, the investments were just coming in. Orlando,
coming strong,
what has been going on?
There's quite a bit there. We got it popped up and disappeared.
There it is.
Jessica invested $600. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Don Marie from California invested $102.
Awesome.
Thank you. Raymond from Texas invested $600. Thank you, Raymond. Dan from Texas, $1,500.
Wow.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you. Honey invested $126. Again, with the odd numbers. I like it. And another one, $102 from Terry. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you so much.
Donna invested $102. Wendy from Florida invested $501. This is crazy, man.
I know. Tim from California, $3,000.
$3,000.
Thank you, Tim.
Holy smokes.
Jay from Nevada. I like that name. Is it
just Jay?
Is it just Jay? Because if it's just Jay, that's
awesome.
That's kind of awesome. I actually really love that.
501 from Jay. Thank you. Lynn invested from Tennessee invested $351.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. Kira from Arkansas invested $501. Thank you. Go for it.
And Alicia from Oregon invested $150. Thank you, Alicia. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. And Shelly from Texas invested $150. Shelly, thank you. Lex from Texas invested $900. I don't know how many more of these there are. But
I know, it just keeps coming.
Jake from Oklahoma invested $150. And last one here for now. Oh, that was the last one. Okay, awesome. So Jake's the last one for now. I believe we have far surpassed our $10,000 goal for tonight. Which means I'm going to have to reveal my favorite sci-fi property. So it's not Star Wars, although I grew up on that. This seems to be everybody's favorite. But genuinely, like my favorite, the movie that I keep coming back to over and over again, the one that speaks so much to me, And I just love it on a filmmaking level, on a writing level, acting. Like, to me, this movie is the whole package. And I'm going to say the name, and I guarantee like 80% of you are going to be like,
not going to know it.
What? But that movie is Gattaca. It's a 1998 movie, I think.
Sounds about right.
Featuring Ethan Hawke, Jude Law, and Uma Thurman. And it's about this guy who lives in the near future where everybody is basically grown. And and if you're birthed like the normal way, then you're seen as a degenerate, or they call them degenerates, and you can't really achieve in society. And so Ethan Hawke plays this guy who is basically hiding his true identity because he did have a natural birth, and trying to achieve more than what his genetic printout says he can actually do.
Because they're physically inferior because they're not genetically modified like everybody else.
Yes, exactly. So he's physically inferior. And anyways, you don't even know the whole plot of Gattaca, but it's a great movie. It speaks to what we can do. It's the triumph of the human spirit. I'm a sucker for that narrative, and it's a great sci-fi narrative. Anyway, check out Gattaca if you ever want to. But I think we need a new goal now, because now that we've hit our goal, we need a new goal. So the new goal is, if we can reach another $5,000, I'm going to depend on our moderators to let me know when we hit this. Another $5,000 in investment. Orlando and I will both reveal our favorite romantic comedy.
Romantic comedy?
Romantic comedy.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. Now that may seem like an ill fit for The Shift, but the truth is The Shift feature film in a lot of ways is a romance. It is very much a love story.
Sure.
About Kevin and Molly, who in the short film you really just see them kind of like fighting each other, but in the feature film you're going to see much more of their relationship, and there's a real love there. Robin from Oklahoma just invested $501. Thank you, Robin. And Kathy from Texas invested $252. I think people are listening to Dallas. I think I think he may be a good advocate.
He's a little trustworthy.
Yeah.
He did do this tiny show called The Chosen.
Yes, he kind of knows his stuff. So thank you. Elizabeth from Texas invested $201. Thank you, Elizabeth. And Lori from Delaware, I believe that's Delaware, invested $501. Wow, they're just awesome. And Lisa from Florida, $102. Thank you, Lisa. Every single investment counts. Grant from Utah invested $150.
Thank you all. Appreciate that.
And Levi from South Dakota invested $102. Angela from Utah doesn't want me to move on to any other topic, has invested $150.
It just keeps rolling.
And Connie from Illinois invested $501. This is all just happening just now, by the way. Like, while we're talking, this is happening. This is very much live right now. So one of the things, first of all, I want to just say real quick how grateful I am to Dallas, not only for coming on and talking with us today, but just for his mentorship as an executive producer. He is really going to help us make this movie the quality that it needs to be. You guys, by investing or putting your faith and trust in me as a filmmaker, but also in my team, and Dallas is part of that team. No, he's not going to let up on the gas even for a second on The Chosen.
Yeah. What
he is doing with me on The Shift is just talking to me, helping me to navigate the waters of making a film, and making a film of a high quality. And that's really the extent of his involvement.
Well, and it's important because
it's like quality control.
Yeah, and it's important because this is a big step forward for sure. What we've done. Like, we're not new, so to speak. I mean, but we're new to this scale. Right. And this is a place he's been multiple times, and so he can kind of advise in those and avoid the pitfalls.
And Dallas is representative of who we're surrounding ourselves with on the team in general. You know, like, we're surrounding ourselves with people who do have more experience than us. I think that's how you become successful. 100%. You surround yourself with people who are better and smarter than you, and then you're able to do the thing you need to do.
Yeah, you don't want to be the smartest guy in the room.
No, you don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. Not when you're the leader, I don't think. Angel says, okay, figured it out. The last round was pledging to show interest only. No money was taken, so I have now invested. Awesome.
That is correct.
So glad to hear that, Angel.
Exciting to hear.
What Angel is referring to is that for the last few months, we've been gauging interest. We've been asking people basically to say, hey, I would love to invest if there is another chance to do so. And then they let us know how much they'd like to invest. So we did that. And people pledged upwards of $3.1 million, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But none of it was real money. So as of today,
it was Jogathon money.
It was Jogathon money. It was promised. It was a promise. But as of a couple hours ago, literally, you can now invest. And so that's what's coming in right now. And that's what you can do by going to angel.com/theshift. one of the things you're going to see on that website is you're going to see there are actually perks for investing. Like, not only do you become partners with us, but depending on the level that you invest, there's actually a perk. There's something that we're going to give to you, or an opportunity, or something else. And I actually just want to go through those real quick and share those with you so that you know, like, not only do you get to be part and partners with us in making this film, which means potentially you could get a return on your investment, but also you'll get these perks. So the first perk is, for $100 or more, which is just our minimum investment, you're added to our backer list. So your name will be added to the list on our website, for everybody to see. And of course, you have our sincere thanks. And then the second perk is $300 or more. Your name is actually going to be in the credits of the film. $300 just to have just to get your name in the film. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Not bad.
That's not bad. And of course, the way that it works with these perks is that any perk that you pledge at, any perks prior to that, perk, you get those too. You get all the perks below the one that you invest at. So if you've invested $600 or more, you'll get an exclusive newsletter from the creators, which is us. And we'll send those through email and things like that. For $1,000 or more, I'm going to create a director's cut of the trailer. This is only for you guys, and we'll send that out to you, and you'll get exclusive digital access to that director's cut. Director's cut is going to have stuff that we probably can't fit into the full trailer, so you'll get to see probably more than the average person before the movie's released. And for $1,500 or more, this is very, very cool. You'll get early access to the film before it actually launches. That's kind of very, very cool.
Pre-screener.
Yeah. One of the things that we're going to be doing while we're making this film is we're going to be making all kinds of we're taking all kinds of photos, and we're going to be Angel Studios was just calling me. I don't know why. Don't they know what I'm doing? We're going to be doing all kinds of behind the scenes photos and things like that. And so I'm going to create an exclusive digital photo album that anybody who pledges at $3,000 or more is going to have access to. So these are going to be photos that most people are not going to have access to, but you're going to get to check them out. You know what, Orlando? Why don't you answer that? Because they're calling again, so it must be very, very important. Also, if you invest $5,000 or more, you're going to have the option to be an extra in the shift. You will have to do your own accommodations. You'll be responsible for your own travel and lodging and things like that. But for $5,000 or more, not $5,000 or more investment, you will be invited, on certain dates that we'll let you know about. We'll be in communication about that. That's a fantastic opportunity. Okay, for $10,000 or more, I will print out a copy of the shooting script for the shift and mail it to you. So and sign it. I'll sign it, and then I will mail it to you. So you will get your own signed copy of the shooting script for $10,000 or more investment. And for $25,000 or more investment, you'll get exclusive one-day full access to the live set of the shift. This is going to be a really unique opportunity for you to come and hang out with us and see us making the film right there live. And again, travel and accommodations and all that stuff is going to be your responsibility. For $50,000 or more, not only do you get to come to the set, but we're going to have lunch together. You and me together for an hour, and we'll chat, and you can ask me anything you want, and I'll probably tell you things I can't tell you on a live stream because I'm not very good at keeping secrets. So if you ask me a really good question, I'll probably answer it. But yeah, I would love to have lunch with you. So for $50,000 or more for that, for $75,000 or more, not only do you get all the previous perks, but in the film, you'll be listed as an associate producer, which is a pretty cool perk. That's not a small credit to have on a film. And that'd be like, if you don't have an IMDb page, you'll get one, and you'll get to brag about being an associate producer on a feature film. And last but not least, for $100,000 or more, not an associate producer, but an executive producer. You'll be an executive producer of the shift listed in the credits of the film.
You literally have the same title as
Dallas Jenkins. Yes, you and Dallas Jenkins will be listed as executive producers together.
Yeah.
And I'm told that we just reached our $5,000 goal. Apparently, our goals are far too modest.
Wow. Okay.
But we just reached our $5,000 goal after reaching our 10. And so now Orlando and I are going to reveal to you our favorite romantic comedies, which is on point for the shift, because the shift is at its heart a love story. I actually like to say that it's a love story about a man who is trying to get back to his wife, but also back to his God. That's really what it's about. And if you're familiar with the story of Job from the Bible, you can understand how that might work, because we based a lot of the plot, some of the plot, on that story, on Job's story. I don't want to get too far into that, but it very much is a love story in that way. So, favorite romantic comedy. You want me to go first?
You should go first.
Okay, I'm going to go first. So, my favorite romantic comedy, because I'm a bit of a sap, is You've Got Mail. I think You've Got Mail.
Like AOL?
Yes, like inception of the internet. They did this romantic comedy with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan about these two people getting together, don't know who each other is, and they fall in love over the internet. And probably one of the reasons it means a lot to me is because I was kind of doing the same thing with this girl at that time. It didn't work out, but I don't know. But besides that, it's really well written. It's really well acted. I love that movie. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah. So I don't do romantic comedies. Like, I like action films. I like sci-fi movies.
Right.
So
tell them your lame pick. Tell them your lame pick.
I was like racking my brain trying to figure out, like, I guess the closest thing would be like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, because I mean, it's a comedy and it's about a guy, trying to get a girl. So I mean, I guess it's technically a romantic comedy,
right?
It's Edgar Wright romantic comedy, I guess, and
it has romance, it has comedic things,
and it's a lot of fun. Like, I love the music, I love the editing, I love the action. The action's great. It's very sci-fi in its own right, very comic-y. So I mean, that's how off the mark I am when it comes to romantic comedy. Like, that's the closest I can get.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to knock that pick. I love that movie, but
it doesn't quite fit squarely into that category.
You've Got Mail.
No, it's not. No, so
it's not Tom Hanks.
Romantic comedies are what we in my household call Adrian movies. Adrian being my wife, and so Adrian watches Adrian movies when I'm working late in the office. So that's kind of how that works.
Speaking of the office, we got to knock at the door. You go. We're live, and you can tell. Robin from Oklahoma just invested $501. Thank you so much, Robin. Kathy from Texas just invested $252. Thank you, Kathy. And Elizabeth from Texas invested $201. Thank you, Elizabeth. And Lori from Delaware invested $501. Thank you very much, Lori. Lisa from Florida invested $102. My goodness, they just keep rolling in. And Branch from Utah invested $150. And Levi from South Dakota. I feel like some of these names are the same that we've read
maybe
before.
they're
we might be.
Maybe they saw the perks.
Maybe they're going in again,
throwing in more.
Why not? We definitely have had investors do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Angela from Utah invested $150.
Fantastic.
And I think that's it.
That was it. Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. We so one of the things that's unique about the Shift. And kind of what we're doing with this campaign. First of all, if you would like to invest, please go to angel.com/theshift.
Can I interject something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should just kind of talk about, too, because we haven't done this before, and there might be some people new to what we're doing here. Clarify just how this is an investment and not a donation like a typical crowdfund.
That's a really good point. Yeah. So for those of you that are kind of unfamiliar with this, with what it is that we're doing, when we're talking about investment, we really are talking about investment. This is not like a Kickstarter where you donate and then we're going to kick you a T-shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just get the privilege of,
saying you did
it is we create.
Yeah.
This is a real investment.
Right.
So we regulated by the SEC, and you're actually buying shares in the company that's making the Shift feature film. That's what you're doing, and so this is your opportunity to legitimately, in every sense, partner with us.
Yes,
become our partners in making this film happen. Correct. This is the exact same way that The Chosen became The Chosen. That they did this investment, and people came in and they invested, and now The Chosen is what it is. And so it's very, very, very similar to that. So if you're familiar with that, it's basically the same, very similar terms. Great. So one of the things that we're doing, we feel a lot of responsibility, a lot of respect for our investors, anybody who's willing to come in and support this film. It's something we take very seriously. And one of the things that we are doing that's very, very different is that we have actually taken the full script for the feature film and we have released it to the public. That is actually available right now for you to read at angel.com/theshift. Now, I cannot overstate how unusual this is.
It's very unusual.
This is not what filmmakers do before
I had
a
panic attack when he said that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, it's just very different. And honestly, it was very nerve-wracking because, look, you send something like that out into the world. This is not the finished product. This is a version of it. This is an idea of it, but it's not it. You can't see into my brain. And most of you who are listening and watching, you're not filmmakers, and so you're not necessarily you've never even read a script.
Sure.
But based on the response that we were getting within the industry, within other people who had read the script, we felt like, you know what? Our investors deserve to know what this film is.
Sure.
And I think when you watch the short film, you get an idea, you get a taste of what the feature film is, but you don't really know.
You have no idea. No,
you have no idea.
It's a very tip of the iceberg.
And look, most people watch the short film and they get to the end of it and they're like, I don't understand what happens next. like I want to see what happens next. Definitely there's a little bit of a cliffhanger there.
Sure.
But I think most people don't really have any idea how the story can continue or what form it would take. But there doesn't need to be any mystery. We have released this script. You can go to angel.com/theshift and you can read it right now. And in fact, hundreds of people already have. And some of them have even shared their reactions with us. And one of the people who shared their reaction is a woman named Sarah. Now, Sarah is a screenwriter and someone who grew up in the entertainment industry. And she shared her thoughts with us. This video right here is just Sarah just sharing her heart, sharing kind of the emotional experience that she had in reading the Shift feature film script.
The little seeds that are planted all throughout the story are so brilliant. From I don't want to give away spoilers, but from the song "This Little Light of Mine," and I mean, I tear up when I was reading that. Like I just reread it again this morning, and just how that song, how it shows up in the middle of the story and how it shows up again at the end of the story is so powerful and so beautiful. And it's such a simple, sweet little hymn, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. But it's such an important message. You know, it's like, are you going to let that light shine and reach other people? Or are you going to let all the darkness of the world and all the temptation to give into your own selfishness squelch that light out and just be part of the darkness? And that is the message that people need right now. And this film gets it across so beautifully, the script and the story. Those of us that feel called to create edgy material that speaks to the broken and speaks to the lost by creating a narrative that meets them where they're at, which is not in a happy Hallmark church life, meets them where they're at in their brokenness and in their sin and their fallenness and in their pain, and starts the narrative there and spends a lot of the narrative there so that people who are in that life can go, yeah, this is me. I relate to this. I can understand this. And then little by little, slowly but surely, brings them along with the protagonist out of that life and on a healing journey into a life of walking towards God and finding God and witnessing his promises and his redemption and his fulfillment of everything that he's told us that he'll do if we just ask and believe and receive. Brock and his team and screenwriters and filmmakers like him and like myself, we need people to invest who are fearless risk takers, who are ready to start a whole new wave of faith-based cinema. Even in the midst of so much darkness, God can come through, can create miracles, and I believe will get this film made.
Fix it.
All right, that was Sarah. Sarah's comments, mean so much to me. I mean, especially as a fellow storyteller. And I didn't know Sarah at all before this video. She was somebody who commented on one of our posts and just expressed her enthusiasm for the Shift. And so I just, she was so enthusiastic. I was like, Sarah, would you be willing to just get on camera and talk about it? She submitted a 10-minute video.
10 minutes long.
10-minute video about how enthusiastic she was about the Shift. And you just got a taste of it there, what she had to say. We have some investments rolling in right now.
Awesome.
You can do that at angel.com/theshift. But someone who just barely invested is, drum roll, Stonewall from Utah, who invested $600. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Stonewall. Deborah from Michigan?
I think so. Or Missouri.
Invested $300.
No,
Missouri's MO.
Yep, you're right there.
Jeff from Pennsylvania invested $777. That is a lucky number. Todd from Virginia invested $300. Thank you very much, Todd. And Katrina from Maryland invested $150. Look, we know our states. That's $150. Patrick from Arkansas invested, or is that Alaska? It might be Alaska. Invested $501. Sylvia
I guess we don't know our states.
I guess we don't know our states. We thought we did. Sylvia from Kansas invested $501. Thank you so much, Sylvia. And I'm going to do my best here. Mui from Oregon invested $102. Thank you so much. And that's it. That's who's coming. So they're still coming in. We appreciate that so much. This today, for those of you that haven't seen, just joining us right now, this today is the first day that to invest again for the shift. We have done 2 previous rounds of crowdfunding. And then for the last few months, we've been asking people to express interest, just letting us know, hey, would you like to invest again?
Yeah, if we were to do it.
And how much would you do it for if we were to do it? And in that 3-month process, we saw over $3.1 million in pledges come in.
Yeah.
And so now, within the last couple hours, we opened up a new round of investment. This is your chance to do it. Yeah. It's limited time. It's not gonna last that long. I can't tell you exactly how long it's going to last because for some reason I'm prohibited from doing so. But you can
go to the portal.
The website.
Yeah, go to the website.
You can go to angel.com/theshift and you can find out there.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, from doing that gauging interest and seeing that number, like it was clear to us that we should do another round. That was the whole point, was to find, like, is it even worth going through this process again? And, is there even interest, or we just kind of spinning our wheels? And clearly there was interest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, the best part for me, it isn't so much the money, although we need the money to make the movie. So it's not like it's not a small thing, the money. It's a very important thing. But to me, it's what those investments represent, which it represents people. It represents you.
Right.
You coming and saying, I believe in you guys. I believe in this project, and I'm willing to put my heart and cash to that effort. That is an incredibly and emotionally significant thing for me. And so we appreciate you in a way that I can't adequately express, genuinely. And so the fact that so many people have already said, hey, I would like to invest, I'm feeling really good about the next month, essentially. And I think that we're going to see some miracles happen. I think that's what we're going to see, honestly. We have a fantastic a pitch video. I want to put out the call. I'm going to show it one more time, but I want to put out the call for questions. If you have any questions or any comments that you want us to see, and maybe you submitted a question like half an hour ago, and it just in the scroll of things it got lost. Please submit that question again right now so that our moderators can see it, and then they'll make sure that we see it when we come back from checking out this video again. So let's check that out, and then we'll come back and answer any last questions.
What happens when atheists make Bible movies? You get films like this. How could you cast Batman as Moses and still have the movie be more boring than church? Never send Hollywood to do a Christian job. No, not that Christian. You had your chance. Still like his Batman, though. There are 2 problems when it comes to faith-based movies. Number 1, most Christian films look cheap because they don't have the budget. The second problem is when Hollywood attempts to make their own faith movie, which is when you get Noah talking to rock monsters. Was a global flood not epic enough for you, Hollywood? Most faith-based movies fall apart quickly. And watching them is like walking on Legos with your eyes. It's hard to feel God in a faith-based film when they have the production value of a church play.
I don't feel safe!
Hey, you don't cry till the last scene!
Pray for them. Hollywood has all of the production value, but none of the Christian value. How can we as believers enjoy a faith-based film that's as enjoyable as a blockbuster, but retains the power and truth of the Bible? We need a Hollywood-quality movie created by actual believers, and that movie is The Shift. It's about a man who meets the devil himself and gets banished to a dark, parallel Earth where he fights to get back to the woman he loves. The script explores some of today's hardest questions about maintaining faith, like how can a loving God allow suffering? Or how can I overcome feelings of despair and hopelessness? Finally, you can see a faith-based film that feels like your favorite movies. The Shift is a sci-fi film that will make you think deeply like Inception and weep like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. Man, even his ugly cry looks good. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not that talented. Using popular genres to share faith-based stories is a great way to entertain and inspire a love for God. Look at C.S. Lewis, who used fantasy to share Christian themes and inspire millions. And make millions. Even Jesus used creative storytelling to make his sermons more interesting. Parables. I'm talking about parables. We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. But rather than pass around a donation plate, we want you to own part of the movie. Click the link to invest in The Shift today. The plan is for The Shift to be distributed by Angel Studios, which helped The Chosen become the largest crowdfunded media project of all time. Angel Studios' distribution of The Chosen then went on to generate over $70 million in revenue and over 250 million views. Here's what the creator of The Chosen has to say about The Shift.
I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift, and I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level.
Angel Studios also helped the Wingfeather Saga, an animated fantasy series created by a Christian author, become the largest crowdfunded kids and family animated project in history. When you invest in The Shift, you're not just investing in a groundbreaking Christian film. You have the potential to share in the profits. Now, we don't have one of these prophets to promise that you'll make this profit. But I am going to repeat that The Chosen earned $70 million in revenue. That's the highest earning faith-based project of the last 2 years. The Shift not only has the incredible potential in the marketplace, it's just an incredible movie. Listen to these reviews from folks who watched the short film. Jane F. wrote, "This looks amazing. I've never seen a faith-based film like this." Ronnie said, "There's actually no way to convey how this spoke to me just now. I look forward to seeing what God does with this film." And Jason commented recently with, "Wow, just wow." And what will really wow you is discovering that the short film was created with almost zero budget and it has already touched hundreds of thousands of lives. Imagine the impact The Shift can have on hearts and minds with the proper funds. Most indie Christian films operate with a budget of about $500,000, and honestly, it shows. She's fine. Maybe the little shepherd boy could say a quick prayer? Yep, we good? With 10 times the production value, we can truly do justice to the epic themes in the Bible. So click on the link to invest in The Shift today. Look, there's nothing wrong with a film that's a labor of love, but those usually just become cult classics, which is not the best label for a Christian movie to receive. Enjoy Sunday morning values with Saturday night entertainment. Click the link to invest in The Shift today.
So how fun was it working on that pitch video?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun.
Working with Harmon Brothers, coming up with the script, and then our local crew that we put together to shoot that. Like, that was a blast.
Yeah. No, that was one of the most fun 2-day shoots I think we've ever done.
Yeah, hands down.
Stressful, especially with those Legos. Legos threatened to break apart at any moment. And
we only had one shot.
We only had one shot. Once you break those things,
right?
We didn't know how to put them back together.
They're gonna merge and then like, here's that piece.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. But once again, while we were watching that video, more investments were coming in.
Fantastic.
And hopefully your questions too. We're going to get to those in just a second. Sandra from Idaho invested $102. Thank you very much, Sandra. Edward from Maryland invested $252. Thank you very much, Edward. And investments are just rolling. They're still rolling in. Okay. Well, Melanie from California, $603. Just a little bit ago. Zachariah from Michigan invested $501. Thank you very much, Zachariah. And Tracy from Pennsylvania, $501. Michelle from Montana invested $252. I'm pretty sure that's Montana.
Okay.
Maybe. No, it's not Montana. Minnesota. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Tyson from Arizona invested $1,002. Thank you so much, Tyson. And Gigi from Ohio invested $502. 501. 501. Cheyenne from Utah invested $501 as well. And Danita from Tennessee invested $102. I think people want to be in on the next Dallas Jenkins project.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I don't have any illusions. They're looking at me and they're like, that Brock Beasley, that guy. And look, and if you are, bless you and thank you. But I recognize that we are probably largely unknown to you. Yeah. We do have Dallas Jenkins, who is working as an executive producer on this film. We also have Matt Nelson and Dan Hasseltine, who are the composers for The Shift.
For the
Chosen. They are for The Shift, but they're also for The Chosen, and that's how you know their work.
Right.
And of course, Dan, longtime member of singer-songwriter of Jars of Clay. There's just and there's so many other talented people that I don't even have time to get to, but probably those of you watching right now, those are the people that you're the most familiar with. Right. And if you're thinking, man, I wish I had gotten in on The Chosen and I missed it, I didn't even find out about it until afterwards. Well, that's shirt collar just came up, going all medieval here with the flowy collars on the shirts or sleeve. I'm totally thrown off now. if you're thinking, gosh, I wish I'd gotten in on The Chosen, we don't know what's going to happen with the shift. We know what we intend to happen. We know what we want to happen. We know that the quality that we are striving for. And so every risk is an investment. However, if you wish you had gotten in on The Chosen, this is the time to get in on the shift. If you want to get in on something just as it's starting, before it becomes what it's going to become, that time is now, and it's a limited time. If you want to find out how much time you've got, you can go to angel.com/theshift and find out there. We did have some questions and some comments come in while we were watching that video. Let's check those out now, and then we'll wrap up and leave you guys alone. Morgan says, FYI, Brock, AK is Alaska, AR is Arkansas.
Thank you.
I think we figured that out. Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate it. Angel asks, will the actors change going into the full movie? So yes, we are going to be changing all the actors from the short film and hiring new actors, including my wife who plays Molly. She's out. I had to break that news to her. It was a tense night in the Heasley house. No, that's not true. She was fine with it. Look, what we're trying to do is we are trying to make a film that is of Hollywood level. And I'm not saying Hollywood in the sense of it's going to be amoral and make you feel bad about yourself. I'm talking about Hollywood is able to do a certain level of quality of production.
Well, they have pick of the litter on the talent, right?
Right.
Your actors, your crew, and locations. Like they spare no expense on those things. That's why their budgets are as large as they are.
Right.
And so we want to create something that has that same craftsmanship, but with a different message.
Right. Exactly. So we have budgeted in enough so that we can attract name actors to bring to this film, so that we can attract just that much more attention to it. Because the fact is, unless you're going to a horror movie, chances are the people who are in the film, the actors, are people you've heard of.
Right.
And that's what generally becomes successful. And we want the shift to be successful. So yes, all of the short film actors are fired. They're okay. They're okay. They understand why. It's because we want to make this movie as viable in the marketplace as possible.
Right.
That's the goal. Dawn Marie says, I am glad it's different. That makes it not hokey. Why does the world have the commodity on how one expresses creativity? Just because it's sci-fi does not make it anti-Christian.
Yep.
That's just religious and legalistic. Thank you, Dawn Marie.
Totally agree.
Yeah, we are making something different on purpose, not because we think this is how the world really works. I mean, nobody watches Star Wars and they're like, man, I got to go find that Millennium Falcon because I want to go and challenge Darth Vader. No one's going to walk away from the shift thinking, oh, this is how it really works.
Yeah.
But it's going to make them think about their lives differently. It's going to make them think their world and the way that God operates within it differently. And we've seen people connect with the message. They connect with the themes. They connect with the message. Nobody walks away thinking, oh, this is real life.
Sure.
Shouldn't be. It's fiction. It's fiction. It's called science.
Fiction.
B point. Says, as said on The Chosen, get used to different.
Agree with that too.
Yes. I wish that we had come up with that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's in some ways it's even more applicable
for us.
To us.
Yeah.
But The Chosen already got there first, so we can't co-opt it. But yes, B, get used to different. That's what the shift is.
Get used to more different.
Get used to more different. There you go. No one will see through that.
Get used to differenter.
Yeah, differenter. No, that's terrible. Raphael says, my English is limited. Then I can't explain with it, but it is so good, the short. Thank you, Raphael. I love that you are not necessarily an English speaker, but you still connect with the short. I don't think we've even trained. I'm assuming he's a Spanish speaker based on his name. We don't have a Spanish translation of this short.
That's a good point.
I love that Raphael is still able to connect with it in that way. That is fantastic. I think we're out of questions and comments. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to do a quick shout out as I always do we have one more question. Sorry, this is from Noah. He says, there seems to be a lot of other franchises that are getting into this whole parallel universe, multiverse theme long after the shift was being talked about, like Marvel, for instance. Do you get the impression they're stealing all your ideas? Noah, I'm so glad that you said it so that I don't have to. Because clearly Marvel is looking over our shoulder and,
stealing your scripts.
Quite frankly, I'm upset about it.
Yeah.
I'm upset about it.
We'll have to do something about that.
But you know what? I also believe that you turn the other cheek. And so I will not be contacting my lawyer. And we're just going to go forward and pray that Marvel is paving a road that we can walk on.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Noah. Appreciate it. I want to do a quick shout out to our fan club on Facebook. There is the Shift fan club. This was fan created and fan run. I love to drop little hints or just exclusive stuff on the Shift Fan Club. So if you want to see what's happening, that's usually the place to go and check it out. But you also find a lot of people just like you who are fans of the Shift and want to see better and great Christian media content that can reach the masses. I mean, that's our goal here. It's a crossover film.
Right.
We want to make a film that people who would never go watch a faith film, they're going to watch this thing because people are going to be telling them, no, you've got to see this. It's not what you think it is. It's not like other films. It's just a great, great movie. That's the aspiration. Orlando, any parting thoughts?
No, I'm excited to get back into this and see where we go.
It's our first day.
Day one.
Our first day. Day one. Opening up again.
And it's always a bit of a marathon and a lot of work, but I don't know. It feels different this time.
It does feel different
really exciting.
This time. We're ready for it. We're ready for it. Thank you for joining us. Please, we're going to be doing another live stream next week. We'll have announcements up soon for that. We also have a Facebook page. You can like us there, and you can get all the latest news. Thank you very much to the Angel Studios team. I'm Brock Heasley, the writer and director of The Shift.
And I'm Orlando J. Gomez, producer of The Shift.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of why I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift. I remember when I first saw the short film, The Shift, it was probably a couple years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who this person is who made this, and I had heard that they did it for no money, but I'm really impressed, and I believe that this guy has a future. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where the Shift turned out. I wanted to see how it could be expanded upon. I wanted to see what Brock could do with an actual budget. So the Shift now has a relatively small budget. They're really keeping the budget low, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do is help them maximize the budget that they do have and making sure that every penny that we spend is spent in the best and most efficient way possible, which is one of the things that I hope, if you've seen The Chosen, you've realized we did there too, was we didn't have Hollywood money, but we had enough to make something special. And I think that's what Brock has now. I think he's going to get, and I hope you can help him get enough to make something special. And I think the message of the Shift and the future of the Shift is so important. And almost as important as any of that is Brock Heasley. He didn't ask me to say this, I promise. But I can tell you, I've seen his work on a writing side, I've seen it on the directing side, and in my 20 years in the business, there are very few people who I've thought, I want to pour into this person because I think that this person has the chance to be an impactful and disruptive and important storyteller in this business. And that is Brock. Brock is someone who, when I read what he's writing, I'm connected to it. And I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level. And if you've seen The Chosen, maybe that's what you've appreciated about it as well, is that it's not just pure emotion. It's emotion that has some thought behind it, but it's also not pure intellect. It's intellect that has some heart behind it. And all of that is, there's kind of an umbrella over all of it of a spiritual importance. Something is being said about our universe and who created it.
Nothing.
That I may be
Nothing.
worthy tomorrow.
I am greater than God.
Jesus
I am
Christ.
certainly greater again.
And that's what The Shift is about. That's what The Chosen is about. It's one of the reasons why I've signed on board, and I hope you can get involved as well to be part of the beginning of what I believe is an important project and who I believe is an important filmmaker.
We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. Click the link to invest in The Shift today.
Peace.